Okay, so day 12 on the CDT. You don't know it, but this is actually take two. I was interrupted by a bee during the first take, so I abandoned that one. Today I hiked out of Silver City, and I actually left late. When I hiked in to the city on Saturday, I was about an hour and a half late after the post office closed. So I knew I was going to have to get my resupply box on Monday morning when the post office opened. So I got out of Silver City at about 11, and that put me on trail a bit late. So, man, the bugs over here are horrible. So I think it was about 7+ hours of hiking and got about 17 miles in. But the first 6 miles was a road hike out of Silver City, which is painful for hikers with, trail runners and packs on their back. And then we're actually taking the Gila alternative, which is a beautiful alternative, but the beginning of it is on a Forest Service road. Although it's not asphalt, it's still, like, roads aren't made for people, right? Because they just go straight up and down instead of having switchbacks. So trying to hike those can be painful, especially when you have sharp inclines or declines. Let's see. So like I said, I hiked about 17 miles. I'm hoping to do some of these videos like during the day, since we're in the Gila alternative, because it's supposed to be absolutely gorgeous. So I'll try to get that done. Today's shout out goes to Teresa. Teresa was a coworker of mine before I took a leave of absence, and instead of being able to just celebrate Mother's Day yesterday, she also had to prepare for a work trip this week, and I want to give a shout out to her because I used to take that work trip, and so now that I'm on a leave, she's taking the trip. So thanks, Teresa, for picking up that slack. I know that, or I hope that you were able to have a full Mother's Day with your partner and your kids. So shout out to you. I think today we'll do something a little bit different. We'll do two stories, one from this trip and one from a backcountry hike I did with my friend Charlie in Yellowstone. And the reason why the Charlie story is funny and relevant is because a few videos ago, I think towards the end, I said the shout out was I was hoping that like a hole behind me in a rock face was empty because it was like the perfect size for a fox. And I learned the sneakiness of fox when we were in Yellowstone. So Charlie and I had gotten to our campsite a bit early, and we decided to take a side trip. There was a peak that was over to just the side of our campsite, and we said, hey, we could get up and down that peak pretty quickly, so let's do it. And we did it. It took us a little bit longer, and this is where the caveat comes in, or the warning. You shouldn't do what we did. We got back late and we decided to cook dinner in the dark in the backcountry of Yellowstone, where the wolves and the grizzly bears live. Probably not the best idea. Don't do what Charlie and Eric did. I would highly advise not to do what we did. But we are cooking dinner in the dark, and suddenly Charlie says, there's a fox over there on that log. And the log was like a bench around the campsite that, the maintenance crew, whatever, had put there so people had benches around their campsites. And I look over, and sure enough, like caught in the headlamp is two eyes, and we could tell it was a fox. It wasn't any other kind of animal. And Charlie's like, chase it out of here. And I was like, there's two people here. I don't think the fox is going to bother us. That fox harassed us for the next, I don't know, it was like 30 or 40 minutes until we finished dinner and got into our tent. So the fox would show up on one log and we shoot away, and then we'd sit down to eat and it'd show up on another log over here and we'd shoot away, and then we'd eat for 5 more minutes, and then it was over on that log, and then it would go away on its own and then jump over to that log again. And like, it was strategically trying to get closer to us until it felt like there was danger from us, like trying to shoot it or whatever. So that was a reminisce story related to the hole in the rock wall the other day. The other story, the reason why I think I have always loved fox, and I think part of their sneakiness is one of the reasons why I love fox. But when you're trying to eat dinner, it can be a bit of a hassle, and so I got to that campsite and was making the video and was gonna eat, and so I was hoping I don't think I was going to cook anything. I didn't cook anything that night, but I was going to eat some stuff. So I was hoping a fox wasn't going to come out. So the other story that's from this trail is a few days ago. I didn't tell you folks this, but I sat on a cactus. Do not sit on cactus. Not fun. So before I sat down, I actually looked to my left, looked to my right, and I was sitting down to show an exercise to another hiker who was suffering from what are those things called? Shin splints. And I suffered from them early on in the PCT, and I found an exercise from a track coach that actually works the front of your legs to help avoid getting shin splints, especially when you're building up the backside of your legs like we are on these hikes. And so I sat down to show the exercise, and apparently I should have looked straight behind me. Which I did not, and I do not blame the gentleman who I was showing the exercise to, because the cactus was directly behind me, so he was not going to be able to see it. And I sat down and I just grazed it, but it was enough of a graze where I know I just sat in a cactus. So after I showed the exercise to the gentleman, I spent the next 30 minutes picking needles out of my pants and underwear. And once I finished that, I then had to do the strange maneuver of trying to pick needles out of your rear end without being able to see your rear end, because I have a signal mirror in case of emergency, but like trying to hold that thing and tweezers in the other hand, and like it was in a place where you just couldn't naturally see it. So miraculously, after another, I think 25 minutes of pulling needles out of my rear end, thankfully there were not a lot. I think the pants caught a lot of it, but I don't think I missed one. And like when I was in the town, I double checked. There's one spot I just need to keep an eye on to make sure there's not a needle still stuck in there. So I'll check that in a few days at the next resupply. But I think I was able to successfully get the needles out of my butt after I sat on the cactus. I waited to share that story just to see if it had a happy ending or if I had to go to like emergency care. But it appears as of right now it has a funny happy ending. So I think those are the two stories I'll share today. And things went all right. My legs are tired just because I did 17 miles in a short period of time, and a lot of it was road walking. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. Unfortunately, I was not able to find the insoles that I wanted in town. The hike and bike shop was closed on Sunday, and I was so spent by the time I got to town on Saturday that I would not have been able to like walk down to the shop in time to get it before it closed. So unfortunately, I missed the hike and bike shop, but I did check another sporting good, and I checked CVS, and Walmart and Walgreens, and they all had insoles, but they were the type of insoles that are, hey, you work on your feet all day, you want to have comfort in your feet and your back, try these. That wasn't for like actual, out on the trail and backcountry for days on end. So I'll probably have to order some and have them shipped to a town coming up. So that's what I'll probably have to do. Anywhoosie, everyone have a wonderful evening, and thanks for tagging along, and I'll see you folks tomorrow. Okay, one more story. So earlier I was hiking down the trail, which is the very end of this Forest Service road before we jump on trail again. And there's a cow that was drinking water, and the cow stepped back from the water when the cow saw me. And they do that, they're like, hey, are you a threat? And so I didn't want to be a threat. So I decided to come back down the trail a bit and camp down here. Not 10 minutes later, that cow came walking down here to figure out what I was about, and like casually was eating like leaves and grass and stuff, and then turned around. Like when I was setting up to cook dinner, the cow turned around and started walking like beeline straight for me, which is not typical behavior. And I looked and was like, you have udders. I'm pretty sure you're a cow, not a bull. So I'm not sure why you're kind of acting a bit standoffish or aggressive. And then that bugger walked over within 5 feet of my tent, and I thought he was going to walk, or she was going to walk right over my tent. And then she like swayed at the last minute and meandered a little bit, like eating leaves and grass again. And then a little bit of ways down, jumped back on the service road and kept on going. She was making all sorts of noises and stuff, like as she was coming up the road and as she was leaving, kind of displeased. So I'm waiting to see if this cow is going to come back and harass me, or if she's done with me. So I guess you guys, you folks got a bonus story that is live and in progress. So let's hope the cow stays away and I get to have a good night's sleep. All right, I will cut it. I will cut it to the end now. Again, everyone have a good one, and we'll talk to you later. We'll talk to you later.